And we're live. This is take two, actually. This weird thing with the on-airs is that if you kind of mess up or something messes up, it's kind of over then at that point. So this is going to be the quick AMP year one character creation kind of video here, where I'm going to run you through. We're just going to make up a character and see how quickly we can do it. And you'll see kind of where it becomes really easy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to a screen sharing so that you guys can see what I'm doing as I do it. And then I think everybody is going to be very happy with our results, hopefully. We'll see. All right, so now we have our book here. We have a PDF of the book up. And we also have a PDF of the form fillable character sheet that we'll be using here to fill in the blanks. And of course, because I am immensely intelligent, I selected the regular one and now the form fillable one from our goodies page. So now we should have the form fillable one. Yes, okay. Going down the list here, you can see that the first thing to do is to go ahead and spend points on loyalties. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make kind of your classic kind of street level crime fighter, smart talker. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give him 4 in humanity. We'll give him a 2 in community. We'll give him 1 in perfection, and we'll give him 1 in justice, 2 in self. Now you get 10 points to spend here, and what loyalties are is what they kind of represent is what the character cares about. So in community, that means that he cares about his neighborhood, and he'll get a +2 bonus because he's got 2 in it for any checks to navigate his neighborhood or for information on his neighborhood. Humanity is going to be a +4 bonus anytime he's going to try and help someone who is in need. And that's actually a big one for him. That's a big motivator for him. So then we also have justice, which is anytime he's trying to seek out justice for someone. And then there's perfection, which means he's really working hard at trying to perfect a certain skill. And that skill I'm going to make athletics here. And whenever you do a perfection, you get the first level in it for free. And then I'm going to give him 2 in self because he does care whether he gets hurt or not, and that's a bonus for him to avoid dying. So the next step is to pick an affiliation, and I've kind of already figured out that I wanted him to be unaffiliated. So he's not a member of any of the established affiliations in the group. We're just going to make a standard character. And what that means is that he'll end up with 16 bonus points at the end of the during the bonus point spending phase. So now, if you look here, step 3 is that we get skill points. We get 35 skill points to spend. Of course, he'll end up with 36 skill points in total because he got 1 for his perfection skill. So let's move his athletics up by 4 to give him a 5. Let's give him a couple of points in deception because he's really good at tricking people. Let's give him 4 in fighting because I'd like for him to be able to hold his own on the streets. We'll give him a couple in fortitude as well, toughen him up a little bit, and a couple in intimidation if he's able to kind of psych out his people. And let's give him a little bit of intuition too. He kind of knows when bad stuff's going to happen. He has a good gut. And then let's round him out with a few points of might, some perception, definitely some speed. I'd like for him to be fast and a good fighter, and definitely some stealth if he's going to be skulking around. Right now that puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 11, 17, 20, 23, 27, 30. So we have 5 points left. Let's bump him up to 3 in technology, and let's bump him up 1 more in intuition and let's say give him 1 in crafts. He knows how to do a little bit of tinkering. So what this means is that he's going to be really good at like running and jumping and whatever. He also took a perfection in it, which means more than likely this is something he's really focusing on as his character. Perhaps, you know, he used to have polio, and now the fact that now he's an amp has kind of made it so that he doesn't have to fight with that anymore. So that's definitely an interpretation of it. But yeah, so, but he's going to be really good at fighting. He's going to have some good athletics, and he's going to be fast. So those are going to be his 3 best things that he has. But 35 points, it goes fast, but it works out nicely. So the next step that we have is choose a strain for his primary power, and then we have 6 points to spend between primary, secondary, and tertiary powers. So I had already decided that I wanted his primary strain to be a shifter. And what shifters are people who can manipulate their bodies in supernatural kind of ways. A bulk is somebody who like is not just strong, he has super strength. It's not just fast, he has super speed. But a shifter is someone who can shapeshift, someone who can duplicate their form and can do things outside of just enhancing. And I want his, I think I didn't spell that right, elasticity. So I want his core ability to be elasticity, and I'm going to give him 4 levels in that. And now for his secondary power, I think I'm going to make it, I think I'm going to make it evasion, which I think is a good power to have as a secondary, which tells us it's on page 90. So let's go down to 90. All right. So now we have evasion. So I'm going to give him elasticity 4 and evasion 2. Now, what evasion gives him is he is immune to surprise attacks, and he adds evasion divided by 2 to initiative. So immune to surprise attacks, and evasion divided by 2 to initiative. There's that, and let's see. So, and their extra alertness also grants them the ability to avoid attacks easily by spending 1 juice. They can add evasion divided by 2 to all reactions for the battle. So, 1 juice add to battle, because I already said evasion over here. I already said what we're adding. So there's that. And I wish there was a way to make that smaller, guys. I'm going to work on that later. I didn't realize it was going to be super big here. So immune to surprise attacks, evasion divided by 2 goes to initiative, and then he can spend 1 juice to add that same bonus to all reactions for the battle. So that's actually a really cool ability. Even at level 2, it's a +1 to initiative, and it's a +1 to all your reactions for the battle if you spend a juice. Still pretty good. So now if we go to elasticity, which is going to be on page 147, we see here that his core ability that he has now 4 levels in allows him to bend his joints at well, and that actually kind of fits into our whole polio thing. Perhaps he's able to, circumvent that, because now he's able to just bend his bones and everything just any way that he wants. So he's able to overcome that. So it does say that he's able to add elasticity to athletics for flexibility and grab actions, which is really nice. And he also can negate damage from falls of elasticity times 10 feet. And for 1 juice, he can extend his limbs for elasticity times 5 feet, which is 20 feet, which is, wow, that's a long way. He can extend his limbs for 20 feet and like do stuff with them. That's kind of crazy. So let's put that stuff on the sheet here. So he can level plus level to grab, ignore level times 10 feet fall, and he can 1 juice to extend level times 5 feet. So there's that. So that's all he can do. So he can do all of those things, and then for each even level that we have of a power, we're able to get an additional augment. So we'll get 1 augment for evasion and 2 for elasticity. Since we're already here at elasticity, I'm going to go ahead and get the elasticity ones out of the way. Now, if we go over here to the flow chart, we can see the way that we can go. So our first ones will have to end up being wiggly target, stable limbs, rubber anatomy, bouncy ball, or bounce back. And then some of the other ones, we end up needing to have prerequisites. So let's see what bounce back is. Bounce back is that when the amp lands, their body flattens to the ground and then reforms, negates all damage from falls no matter the height, which I kind of dig that. So actually I'm going to give them bounce back. And I'm making note of how much it costs, which is E0. So now he has bounce back, negates fall damage. And because he has bounce back, I can now see what I'm rubber, your glue is. And that is, after an attack in close combat, they only take half damage from the rubbery body, absorbing the remainder. And this trick is reflexive. So that's pretty cool. So that means he can try and get out of the way, but if he can't, he can just take half, which is pretty nice, actually. So yeah, I'm going to take rubber glue, and I am paraphrasing the name for space because the type is huge. Take half damage. Okay. So there's that. All right, so now we have the takes half damage from an attack. And we're good to go with those 2. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and pick our augment for our secondary power, evasion. So that's actually going to, I think we had said it was on page 90. So actually, let's just do a search for 90. That makes that easy. There's only a few different 90s. All right, so looking here, we're either going to take you missed, accurate, or catch. So let's look at this. So accurate adds evasion divided by 2 to actions, to an action instead of a reaction, because it automatically adds it to reactions in the core power, but now it allows you to spend 1 to add it to an action as well. So that's actually a pretty cool one too. It's a +1 at this point, still not a big bonus, but as the level increases, it'll end up being better. So that's accurate. Let's see catch. Catch is the amp catches anything in the air near them, which can stop arrows and even a bullet from striking themselves or a friend. See, that's actually really cool, especially if I can use that along with my elasticity to justify stopping attacks from up to 20 feet away. So that's actually a really cool one. And then there's you missed, which is you missed them. They spend a juice and you missed. Now, since I already took one that's I spend a juice and I half damage, I don't think I need to take the one that makes it so that they just automatically miss. So I'm actually really digging Catch. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take Catch, which is a T1 ability. So Catch, T1, and that's negate a ranged attack. And again, if I spend an additional juice to extend my limbs, that means I can stop an attack anywhere from 20 feet away, which is really, really cool. So already we have a really good basis for our character that we're going for here. So the next step here is spending bonus points. Now, for bonus points, I have 16 points to spend. And if you look here, it actually says skill levels are 1. So if I wanted to up any of my skills, I could spend 1 point per. Specialties are 1 per. And that is, specialties are something that gives you a +2 to a certain type of use of a certain skill. For instance, if I was a fighter, or if I was a swordsman, I could take sword as a specialty of fighting, and then I would get a +2 anytime I used a sword, for instance. So then there's power levels. So I can spend 3 points for a power level for elasticity. So I could spend, say, 6 points and bump it up to a level 8. I'm sorry, a level 6. That actually is something I may do. Loyalties, there are augments. I can buy additional augments for 2 points a piece. So if I didn't want to actually bump up my level, but I just wanted to buy a couple more augments, I could. There's also loyalties. If I wanted to bump up my loyalties, I could bump those up for 2. And I can take up to 10 points in drawbacks. So let's first go ahead and look at some of these drawbacks and see what are some of the possible things that we may want our character to have here. So drawbacks, variable. All right, so we have cerebral drawbacks, absent-minded, addiction, big mouth. We kind of said we wanted him to have a big mouth. So we're definitely going to give him big mouth 2. And that gives me 2 additional points. So there's that. I love the idea of a guy who's kind of a hero, but he's also kind of a klepto. So let's give him a klepto drawback. So now there's 2 more. And let's see here. Anything else that we want to give him? No, I'm not digging any of these. See, we can give him infamous, which means he's known for something bad. If we wanted to go kind of the Spider-Man route a little bit there, we could give him a level 2 and say that, people in town, some of the people in town think of him as kind of a menace. So some people might call the cops on him if they see him and trying to help people. So I actually dig that. Let's give him infamous as well. Infamous 2. And that gives him a negative to social interaction with people who might think he's a bad guy. Of course, they might think he's a bad guy because he mouths off a lot, and and then after he's defeated the bad guys, he might have been seen a few times maybe stealing from them. So you're seeing kind of where everything is kind of falling into place here. So with 6 more points, actually, that gives me 22 points total to spend on levels. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend 6 of those points, the 6 points from the drawbacks that I just got. I'm going to spend those to up my elasticity by 2 levels. And I'm actually going to spend another 8 points. Ooh, wow, that's a big bump. I'm going to spend another 8 points to, no, I'm not actually, because I was thinking I might spend 4 points per level to up my evasion to level 4, but I'm just not digging that as an option. So actually I'm going to leave them with level 6 in elasticity, 2 in evasion. I think honestly the evasion itself is going to just be really awesome for that catch ability, and otherwise I may not use it all that much. Immunity to surprise attacks as well is pretty cool. And I just realized I spelled surprise wrong here. Is that right? No. I'm not liking that it's knocking it off the thing. There it is. All right. So there's that, which means we're going to end up getting another augment for elasticity after the fact. But let's see what we're going to do with the rest of our 16 points. So let's go to some of the gifts and see what we can figure out if any of these gifts are going to be good for us. So let's give Fearless. He's going to want some Fearless. So we're going to go Fearless. Let's give him 3. He gets the +2 to fear checks. So he's going to end up with a +6 versus fear, in addition to what he would already have. So that's actually really cool. Let's give him a gang pass. I kind of like that idea. And what that does is it gives him a +3 to identifying gang territory, where the best place to pick up guns and drugs are, or information on gang affiliations. He can also obtain guns without the permit gift. So yeah, let's do that too. I dig that a lot. Let's do gang pass, and that's worth 2 points. So I've spent 5 so far, which leaves me with 11 more. So that's good. He doesn't need a library. He doesn't need to speak other languages. We're just going to stick with what we have here. I am going to give him fast acting. Let's boost his initiative a little bit. Ooh, you know what? Actually, before we do that, I'm going to give him some drug resistant, which I think is actually well reflected by his body type is kind of boosting itself now against it. He's been pumped full of drugs his whole life. Now he's kind of drug resistant. So yeah, let's do that. Drug resistant. Let's give him 2 in that, and that gives him a +4 versus poisons. All right, so that's 7 now. So we have 9 left. All right, then I do want to go ahead and give him some fast acting just to boost his initiative a little bit. Fast acting, we'll give him 2 for that too, and then that will end up giving him a +4 to his initiative, which actually ends up being a +5 with his +1 from evasion. So that's where we're at right now. Let's see. Pain resistant. I kind of like pain resistance as well. And natural warrior works well for him as well. So, yeah. Okay, so let's give him pain resistance. Pain resistance 2, which gives him a +2. Which gives him a +2 versus pain, and bumps his pain penalties by 1, which is good. So we'll do that. +2 versus pain, penalties reduced by 1. And I think that's good. I kind of want to, I'm going to see if I have points left over for natural warrior. I kind of want to give him that. So, but yeah, so there's that. All right, so now let's give him, let's see, pet, rank, unreadable. Oh, it'd be good if he had a little bit of money. Yeah, let's, so if we're looking at wealth here, if we give him 1 point, it just means that he's got a little bit of money. Maybe he's sharing a home mortgage with somebody. He's got an okay car. I think wealth 1 is probably going to do our guy here. He's better off than having to have a roommate, but he's not that much better off. So looking at this, we've spent 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, which actually leaves us with 4 more bonus points to spend. So The other things that we can obviously spend this on is I could spend 4 points right now and just bump evasion up to 3. It won't really do much right now, but it'll prepare me to be able to spend on it later. I could spend 2 points. Actually, I could spend both of those. I could spend 2 points and 2 points to get 2 more elasticity augments. So actually, let's go and check out the elasticity. Elasticity. All right. Which is page 147. So actually, I'll just type in 147. So we already have unrubber your glue. Let's check what stop hitting yourself is. Stop hitting yourself is actually an enhancement to I'm rubber your glue, which makes it cost 1 additional. And that says when you're using I'm rubber your glue, which means you take only half damage, the AM can make a second check against the attacker's check to reflect the remaining damage back to the attacker, which I think is actually really cool. So yes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my remaining 4 points to take Stop Hitting Yourself. And because it normally is a cost of E1, which means it would normally cost me 1 additional juice, instead I'm going to spend my last 2 points to reduce it down to 0, which means anytime I use I'm rubber your glue, I'll be able to do that second one without having to spend any additional. So anytime I'm hit, I can immediately reflect. I can cancel out half of the damage and reflect the other half back if I roll well enough. And now I can do that. Plus, if one of my friends is in trouble, I can catch a ranged attack before it gets to them. The fact that I can even catch bullets out of the air is pretty amazing. So there's that. And also, I don't know if what that means now is that I can add +6 to athletics checks for grabbing and flexibility. And I can actually extend my arms 30 feet now because I made my elasticity level 6. So all of that's pretty cool. I'm not going to pick a tertiary power this time. So there's that. So now that we've spent all of that, now we go to the calculations of just, hey, what are your final numbers looking like? So integrity is fortitude plus 10. If we look at our fortitude, we have 2, which means we have 12 integrity. Pretty easy. The next one is movement. Normal is athletics plus speed plus 5. So now if we go with athletics, which is a 5, plus speed is a 4, so that's 9, plus 5, then we're looking at a 14 normal. And then running is 14 times 15, which is 210. Now this is how many feet you can move in a single round, which is a lot. And now normally I can move about 14 feet and still attack, which is pretty cool. Or I believe I can move at half of that. So I can move 7 feet and still attack without any kind of penalty. But if I want to move my full movement, I can take a penalty, or I can run, and then that's all I can do. But you obviously see how much farther I can go if all I'm doing is running. So now the next thing is jumping, which is athletics plus might plus 4 is vertical. So athletics, which is 5, plus might, which is 3, so we have an 8, plus 4, which is 12, which means I can, that's horizontal. So I can jump 12 feet across. That's without a running jump. I can jump 12 feet. Or I can jump 6 feet high, which isn't a whole lot, but it kind of gives you an idea of what a character can do if perhaps I had bumped up my might and my speed a whole lot. That means strength and athletics, is really high. Your initiative is going to be your intuition plus speed. And my intuition here is a 3. My speed is a 4, so that's 7. Now that's going to be plus my 5 here, though. So I end up with a plus 12 total. Now my carry lift is 50 pounds plus 25 pounds per might level, and I have 3 might, so that puts me at 125 for carrying, and I can deadlift twice as much, which will be 250. And then my strength bonus is might plus athletics, and then that's a 5 and a 3, so I have a plus 8. And with that, my character's done. Now I can actually just kind of round it out. My starting juice is going to be 3. I'm going to say that my character's name is Stretch. And he's affectionately known as the Stretch. Oh, oops, sorry. Stretch. This is Aloy's character. And my sap name, let's give him a fun name. Let's give him, I don't know, Troy Blart. There you go. I don't know why Blart just came to my mind. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so I'm going to say, wears a hood, a blue hoodie. And stands tall with slightly elongated arms and legs. And then I'm going to say his personality is he's wise, cracking, thrill-seeking, humanitarian. Boom. And that is a completed character, folks. It actually went pretty fast. It just took me a little bit to kind of figure out my powers, but honestly, the point spending and stuff is pretty fast. So, yeah. Well, he's done. All right, that was pretty nice. So, thank you guys for coming and watching the video. I know I had like maybe 1 or 2 people actually watching, which is pretty fun. But it actually went really fast. Oh, I actually had somebody ask, where am I from? I am from Tampa, Florida, as a matter of fact. And really fun place to live. Lots of sun, lots of allergies as well. So, but yeah, thank you guys for coming and watching. This will end up going up on the page, and I'll probably put it under the actual play. If you guys enjoyed this, do put down some comments telling me if you enjoyed this, because if you did, I would love to do this for some of my other game lines that I have. Ampere 1 is my newest game line, but I have form-fillable character sheets for other games as well, which I think would benefit from a video like this as well. So tell me what the next game you want me to do one of these fun create a character videos for. And until then, have a great one. I'm hitting the button now.